You're listening to the Wally Show podcast. You can hear the live version every weekday morning through the WayFM app or following along with us at wayfm.com/Wally.
The Wally Show podcast is brought to you by Colorado Christian University Online, where Wally teaches and where you can earn a degree online just like Betty Rock. You can learn more at ccu.edu/Wally. This podcast is also brought to you by United Faith Mortgage. Let their direct lender advantage save you time and money.
Uplifting WayFM.
News can be a little heavy, so we like to do news-ish. Here's Betty.
When you decide to book tickets on a flight, there's a good chance you're going to lose your cool, maybe lose your faith, because somewhere along the way, with so many, it's just, there's so many things that could cause you to just go crazy.
Oh, yeah. Traveling's frustrating right now.
It is. With so many deciding to travel after 2 years of COVID lockdown, the high demand is something that airport staff they seem to be unable to keep up with, meaning there's a good chance that your luggage will get lost, which did happen with Wally.
Absolutely.
And he will be glad to tell you the whole story from beginning to end.
When I was younger.
No.
It was a bright, sunny day.
Or you'll experience some sort of delay due to mechanical issues or weather. That's what happened to me in my last recent flight. But one recent Alaskan airline flight is getting some major attention due to the unique, maybe absurd reason for its 3-hour delay. So passengers on this flight were already half an hour delayed due to weather. When staff said, okay, now we're good, now you can start boarding.
And everyone gets happy, like, okay, good, let's go. And then Mike can make their connecting flight.
Yep. Let's go. So once they're seated and on the runway, they've pulled back, they think this is it. Passengers were confused when one pilot got on the intercom to announce that the plane would be returning back to the gate due to, quote, failure to get along. So it turns out the two pilots for this flight, they couldn't agree. We don't know what it was, but it had something to do with that professionally, they couldn't agree.
Next level. I thought it would be like two passengers couldn't get along. We're going to have to turn this plane around, kids. It's the two guys driving?
Yeah. So passengers, because of this, passengers were asked to deplane while the airline worked to find a replacement pilot. To do that, it took another 2.5 hours.
Nope.
2.5. So now you're sitting there because these pilots couldn't get along. You're now 3 hours delayed. But here's the good news. One passenger did remark that Alaskan Airlines did understand the inconvenience, so they gave each of them a flight credit of $175.
No. If I gotta sit next to a guy that's eating a broiled fish sandwich and cutting his toenails, and I'm getting along with him, you two in the cockpit can get along for an hour and a half flight, okay?
Can you? I am just eager to know. What was it that they couldn't get along on?
The only thing I could hope is that it would be like one of those things where the pilot was like, yeah, there's weather, but we're fine, let's go. Or there's, that light doesn't work, that's fine, let's go. And the other guy's like, let's not go, it's dangerous. If that's the case, absolutely.
Yeah.
But if they were arguing over Wordle or something like that and they turned that plane around, oh, no thank you. I would lose it.
I would love to see you on that flight and being told it was due to they couldn't get along. I would love to see how you would handle that
I would
situation.
have to go find those guys and go, okay, you have to tell me. I'm not even going to be mad. Just tell me.
Will.
No. Once I just know, I promise you I will not get mad, but you have to tell me why you're arguing.
What if they said, because he took a sip of my Coke?
I would understand that. You don't do that to another man's soda. Uplifting WayFM, this is the Wally Show. We're going to play a little game here. You have a chance to win a prize. It's called Smaller or Taller. I carry myself as a big man, even though I might not be. I sound very big on the radio.
You do?
Yeah. Yes.
Well, when you lower your voice like that, I would agree.
When I talk like this, people, when they meet me, they're like, wow, you are way shorter than I thought.
You come in at a whopping 5 feet 6 inches, and
a half.
No, we would. I think most would agree comes to the smaller side. Typical.
Most would agree that?
I think so. Men.
No. Gavin doesn't agree.
Totally average.
I think most would say the shorter side is maybe like 5 feet 9 inches, and you definitely come in a bit
5'9"?
That's a giant.
Yeah, that's exactly. I was going to say
What are
that.
you talking about?
But we like to play a game called Smaller or Taller. And this is where I'm going to give you the names of some celebrities. And you say if you think they're smaller or they're taller than you.
Then knowing that I'm coming in at a whopping 5'6.5. Point quarter. Give me a quarter, okay?
Depending on the fancy shoe you're wearing.
And the hair of how high up it is that day. And so that's all you have to do based on maybe you've seen photos of me or maybe you're just going to guess. Maybe you know how tall the celebrity is and you've got the benchmark of how tall I am. You can win a prize right now. If you want to play, 855-33-WAY-FM. 855-33-WAY-FM. You have a chance to win a prize and I lose all dignity. So here we go. 855-33-WAY-FM. Uplifting Way FM, this is the Wally Show. Dawn, welcome to Smaller or Taller, the game where Betty Rock will give you a celebrity, and all you have to do is say if they are taller or smaller than me, clocking in at 5'6.25", okay? So how tall are you, first of all, Dawn?
I'm 5'3".
5'3", so you're 3 inches and a quarter shorter than me. Betty Rock claimed earlier that I am, below average height at 5'6". Would you call that average or would you call that below average for a man?
Below average.
Okay. Dawn doesn't know everything.
Dawn, are you married?
I am, and that's what I was going to say, but that's okay because my husband is below average as well.
Fantastic. We're all striving for the middle. I love it. All right, Dawn, so get ready because here's your first one.
All right, so Reese Witherspoon, you know her.
Girl, thanks.
She's well known. Reese Witherspoon, she was in Legally Blonde, among many other movies. But what do you think? Is Reese Witherspoon smaller or taller than Wally?
I would say smaller.
I know she's definitely thinner than me. Boy, it strikes me that she might be just a smidge taller than me, but I would go with Dawn as well. I think she's going to be 4.5. So going with smaller. Betty Rock, how tall is Reese Witherspoon?
Reese Witherspoon is 5 feet.
No.
2 inches.
Oh, yes!
Yay!
She is demure and tiny. Okay, so that's good. Wow, she's smaller than I thought.
Right. Okay, here's your next one. Actress Blake Lively. She's married to Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, yeah.
She was in that movie, The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, that Wally weeped at.
No,
when
I
he
never
saw
saw
it.
that. Come on. Now, I did weep at that shark movie she was in because it was so bad, where she was
that was
stranded
so
on the
good.
rock. No, that was horrible.
Oh, I enjoyed it.
All right, so is Blake Lively smaller or taller than me?
I say taller.
You know, I do too, because I've seen her next to Ryan Reynolds, and Ryan Reynolds is a tall drink of water.
Oh, my goodness.
And so she's not like tiny to him. I think Dawn is on point with this one. I'm going to say she's 5'7.5".
Blake Lively is 5 feet, 10 inches.
Whoa, she's a giant. Oh, my
Wow.
goodness gracious. I would have to look up to her.
You would. You really would.
That is amazing. Well, Dawn, you got 2 right out of the gate. Congratulations. You're a winner today on Smaller or Taller.
Yay! Thank you.
Uplifting Way FM, this is the Wally Show. Let me take you back a couple years if you're an older parent or if you're a new parent to yesterday. Remember what it's like when you got to change your baby and you reach over for the wipes and then there's none there. You're like, oh, what do I do now? I've had that terror in my life.
Get out the water hose.
Yeah, and it's like, oh my goodness gracious, what am I going to do? And for us, it's just a matter of, we just got to go get more wipes. But not every mom has the ability to do that. What if you didn't have them to begin with? And many moms struggle to provide the necessities for their babies, and that's why we're doing our world's biggest baby shower.
This is where we're collecting diapers and pull-ups of all sizes, as well as wipes and formula. And it couldn't be easier. Just text the word baby to 91979. That's baby to 91979 if you would like to play a part in getting these supplies to moms in need. When you text baby to 91979, we'll send you a link with the drop-off locations that are near you. But let's say, hey, you're thinking, I don't have the time to shop. I wouldn't even know where to start with buying baby supplies. Well, if you don't have the time, then we have an Amazon wish list. And on the Amazon wish list, you can just send gift cards. And all that money will be donated to pregnancy help centers in your area. So it doesn't take any effort from you when you text baby to 91979. coffee shops, poolside, back porch, picnic table at the park, at your kids' soccer practice. Just about anywhere can be your classroom when you decide to go back to school online at Colorado Christian University.
I know I got my degree online, and I actually did a homework at a campsite. I was sitting around a campfire writing a paper. That is where I did some of my work that weekend. So life doesn't have to stop just because you go back to school to better yourself. You can work towards this future and this goal that you want to accomplish, and it doesn't have to totally consume you or derail your normal life with friends, your family, or what have you.
And you can earn accredited degrees from Colorado Christian without ever setting foot on campus.
So there really shouldn't be an excuse to not going back to school. If it's something you really want to do, you can do it. And all you have to do is go to ccu.edu/Wally to learn more. And the other really important thing is that Colorado Christian is committed to cultivating the mind without compromising the heart. So check it out, ccu.edu/Wally.
Uplifting Way FM.
If you're not careful, you might just learn something today.
Hey there. Is there a project you're working on? I know more than you. All right.
It's The Wally Show.
Amazon made our worlds a lot better, especially during the pandemic. And I get excited when I see the Amazon truck pull into my cul-de-sac.
I worry about myself because as he pulls in, I think, wait, what did I order?
I know.
That's pretty bad if you can't remember what you ordered.
I know, but it's so great because then it's like a surprise.
It's like Christmas.
Yeah, you're like, what did I get? What did I get? It's so great. And then you're a little bum when he goes to your neighbor. You're like,
No.
come on, man. What's wrong with me? Why don't you love me anymore, Ray? I thought we were best friends. But here is some more good news from Amazon. They announced Thursday that they are actually getting into the healthcare sector. They bought a primary care organization, and they spent $3.9 billion of your dollars on it, which is great. And they're doing it in cash, by the way.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, that's a lot of stuff that we've bought online over the time.
Jeff Bezos has his billion-dollar yacht.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Well, they said that they're acquiring this because they are geared towards reinventing the healthcare experience. Now that I'm all for.
Yes.
Okay, look, I'm not going to complain about our country. Our country's great. Could our healthcare system be better? Absolutely. But I'll take it over a lot of other countries. But it's still, the prices are out of control and it's frustrating. And so we could make it better. Yeah. And so that's what they are looking to do. They said that they are trying to improve things like booking an appointment and taking trips to the pharmacy, because they already bought a drug prescription company.
Yeah.
And so they said, we love inventing to make what should be easy even easier. And so that's their goal in this. And so it is kind of weird, though. They tried this with two other big money companies like JP Morgan and Berkshire Hathaway to improve healthcare costs, and it lasted 2 years and it failed. And you're like, that doesn't make me feel good. Opponents fear that the business model and medicine should not mix, and that Amazon's ability to collect all your intimate personal data in order to track you, target you, manipulate you could be exploited.
Whoa.
I mean, think of it now. You're at home and you're like, man, I'd really like some asparagus today. And then ads for asparagus pop up on all your stuff.
Weird.
And they're fearful that they would abuse the stuff with your personal HIPAA kind of data.
So they need to build some trust with the public.
Well, I got to tell you, man, if they make it easier to get and cheaper to get, I'll take a little lack of security for sure. Now, granted, it's going to feel weird when you're on Amazon and you add a colonoscopy to your Pringles in your shopping bag. But you know what? I'll still do it if it's going to be better. Uplifting Way FM, this is The Wally Show, and we play so many great songs that have depth and meaning and carry people through some hard times. And I'm always fascinated by the different stories of what one song means to someone, because the song is the same, but how it lands with them or what it walks them through is completely different. So we do this thing called group therapy. We're going to pick a song and then ask for your stories of how it affected you, okay? So the song today, Betty Rock picked this one. It is CeCe Winans, Believe for It. What made you think of this song, Lady Rock?
Well, to me, it just sings power. There's so much power behind it. And also it's a lot of hope. And I think a lot of people need to hear that. Like, you're believing for it. That just that reeks of hope.
Like some of the lyrics in there, they say this mountain can't be moved. That's imagery that we talk about all the time. Like, God moved those mountains. They say these chains will never break. But they don't know you like we do. And that's an interesting thing. I mean, if you look at life, the rain falls on the just and the unjust. I mean, just because you're a believer doesn't mean you are immune to problems. I mean, you're going to have your fair share, maybe worse. I don't know. But there should be a difference in how we handle those things based on our faith. And this song is kind of talking about that. It's like, they don't know you like we do, God. You are a God. You will get us through everything.
Exactly. And I think this is a song that's probably helped a lot of people, maybe through some difficult situations where they can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. This song probably speaks to them and gives them the hope that they need to keep going.
And it's great to see CeCe Winans back and just killing it with such a powerful song. So there you go. That is the song today, Believe For It by CeCe Winans. All you have to do is tell us where this song landed with you and how it affected you. And we love playing these things. We actually send them to the record companies and let them share them with the artists as well. So what's your story? All the stories are different. The song is the same. 855-33-WAY-FM. That's 855-33-WAY-FM. We'll do a little group therapy now. What is your experience? What does this song mean to you?
This song has really got us out of a real dark area. My wife was diagnosed with breast cancer about a month ago, and then 2 weeks ago, her father died. So we've been listening to this song over and over and just believing God for his divine healing and his comfort by his Holy Spirit.
It's interesting you say his divine healing, too, like, because sometimes with the case of your wife's dad passing away, it's a matter of perspective, because we're like, oh, you didn't heal him. But, when someone steps out of this world and into eternity, our worst day is their best day. And it's really hard to see that sometimes when you lose someone you love.
Amen.
Well, how's your wife doing, man?
She's doing good. As a matter of fact, after her first chemo treatment, the tumor shrunk by 1 centimeter.
Nice.
Awesome.
It's a hard battle, man, and she's definitely going to need you as she walks through this, but you go through it together. We've had this in my family, and it's difficult, but, man, I'm so glad that we have songs like Believe For It by CeCe Winans to prop you up on some of the hard days and remind you of God's goodness even in the pain.
Amen.
What has this song meant to you, Ellie?
So Memorial Day weekend this year, my husband had left the family home and moved out, and it kind of sent my family into like a traumatic circle. And my 5-year-old had came in singing this song just randomly, and so we played it, and it just, even though reconciliation hasn't occurred, we're still believing for it on our end and still praying and fasting and spiritually just leaning in that and believing that God can reconcile even the worst of things at this time.
It's interesting that your 5-year-old was singing this song. That's pretty great, man. That's like them listening to the radio constantly and you having that on for them and it getting into their soul, and it reminds you of God's faithfulness even when things don't look that great.
Yes, she sings a lot of your guys' songs just randomly running through the house, and I'm like, man, I needed that. Thanks.
That's awesome, Ellie. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story, and obviously we hope and pray that you can get some sort of reconciliation, and if that's not the way it goes, I definitely know that we're playing a lot more songs too that will continue to give you peace as you navigate the situation.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
So, Laurel, what has this song meant to you?
At the beginning of the year, I felt like the Lord gave me the word believe, but then fast forward a few weeks to the end of January, and my oldest son got COVID. He ended up getting pneumonia and also a blood clot in his lungs.
Oh, wow, that's heavy.
So, yeah, and so he's newly married at the time, and his wife and I had to leave him at the hospital. And on the way back to his house, that song came on Way FM, and God just said that sickness will not end in death. And that song just ministered to me the whole time he was in the hospital. And he's totally fine.
Man, I'm so glad that he's made a full recovery. And then I'm also glad that this song was there to help you and carry you through, because you had to be strong for him too, And so when you hear a song that props you up in the middle of this so that you could walk in and be positive and say, God's got this, you're going to be good, I'm sure that made a difference for him too.
Yeah, and his wife as well.
Well, Laurel, I'm glad it worked out that way for you guys, and I'm so thankful that you took the time to join us for group therapy today.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
They say this mountain these chains will never break, but they don't know you like we do. There is power in your name.
With all the talk in the news about interest rates and shrinkflation, life just doesn't stop. Sometimes you want or still need to move, and if that's you, now more than ever, you need to call United Faith Mortgage. They're faith-based and family-owned, which means that directly affects the way that they do business. So many times when I deal with businesses, I feel like I've almost got to have my guard up the whole time, but that was never the case with United Faith Mortgage. I instantly felt comfortable with them from the first time we talked until we closed out our cash-out refinance. There was never any pressure. United Faith Mortgage also has a direct lender advantage, which means many times they can save you money on your loan. Or if you have some unique or challenging circumstances, United Faith Mortgage can help you better navigate that. So if you're needing or wanting to find a new home, please do yourself a favor and talk to the people I trust implicitly. United Faith Mortgage. Start online, call anytime. UnitedFaithMortgage.com.
United Faith Mortgage is a DBA of United Mortgage Corp. 25 Melville Park Road, Melville, New York. Licensed mortgage banker. For all licensing information, go to NMLSConsumerAccess.org. Corporate NMLS number 1330. Equal housing lender. Licensed in Alaska, Hawaii, Georgia, Massachusetts, North Dakota, South Dakota, or Utah.
Uplifting Way FM.
Here's what's going on today.
All right, Gavin, what you got, buddy?
I think that the internet and then in general technology, every day we're finding new things that are amazing and special, and they're moving our, culture forward and all that. But then when it comes to artificial intelligence, AI, am I the only one who's just a little bit creeped out by the idea of that getting better and better?
Yeah, no, you're not alone. There's things that I'm like, how are we doing what we're doing? But then, by the same token, my Alexa doesn't understand a word I say. It's like I'm speaking another language. Or she just hates me. I haven't decided which.
That's
but
it.
Yeah, that's the thing that I can't get worked out.
So if you are interested in a different type of technology that it listens to you pretty well compared to Siri or Alexa, there's this website. It's called an open sourced artificial intelligence website called Craiyon.com. That's Craiyon, so AI. Y-O-N. But it's this website where
Craiyon. That's how Betty sounds.
Crayon.
Crayon. Forget the yawn part. But so what this website does is you actually go to the website and then you type in a word or a sentence, and then the artificial intelligence, looks through the whole internet and then it draws you something. It actually draws you 9 pictures based off of the word or phrase that you plug into the little search bar that it has.
So you could say monster truck eating a fish. And it would draw something that looked like that.
It would. So what I've tested this morning, if you type in something silly, I actually typed in monster truck.
No, you didn't.
And it gives you just a monster, like it's just 9 drawings, good drawings of like that classic black and green monster truck. So it gets simple. If you start getting a little bit more complicated, like one of the examples that they recommended was Batman drinking lemonade. Mm-hmm. That one gets a little bit more like interesting, and they get a little bit... I'm showing you guys this photo. If anyone wants to look this up, you guys can. Just type that in. It gets a little bit...
Okay, and it's not like a line drawing. It actually is like pictures that look like they've been edited together kind of thing. Okay,
yes.
That's cool.
But you do have to be, I'd say, careful what you type into this because it can get just a little bit creepy. For example, I typed in Wally eating candy. One of your favorite things to do.
It's probably got the robot Wally, I would assume.
I think it went for the Waldo. Where's Waldo?
No, that's like a jacked up Where's Waldo.
So this is really creepy.
Yeah, what is that character?
I have no idea.
And why does it kind of look like me?
So I would just say if you're going to go to this website and see what the internet or what AI can do for you, I just say be careful with what you type.
It could be a fun project, though, with your kids, is you have them tell you different things like that, because kids' minds are great, and especially like if you're homeschooling or something like that, tell them to give you a list of 3 things and then do it, and then you look at it first and make sure it's all cool, and then share it with them. That'd be a fun little project, man. So there you go, something to do with your kids today. If you're looking to pass some time with them because they're home and driving you crazy.
What's the website again?
You would go to Craiyon.com. That's Craiyon.com.
There you go.
You want me on that wall. You need me on that wall.
Uplifting Way FM, this is the Wally Show. Every week we have Pastor Chad, who's over our prayer wall at wayfm.com, where people post prayer requests and get them prayed for, and you pray for people there. Kind of come in and share with us normally what's going on the prayer wall. But recently, Chad wrote an article about being the father of a teen. And if you want to check it out, like if you missed parts of this or whatever, you can just text the word teen, T-E-E-N, to 91979, and we'll send you a link. So give us a little synopsis here, the Cliff Notes if you're old enough.
Yeah, I mean, it surprised me a little bit this summer that I went to summer camp with my kids. And in that, I've never done youth ministry in all my years of pastoring, and I know it's kind of the stepping stone for a lot of pastors.
That's where you normally start.
Yeah, it's kind of the entry-level job, but I've never experienced that, and this year they were really needing some extra workers, and so...
It's brave.
Yeah, I signed up. I went to camp with the kids, and it was a learning experience for me as much as it was the teens, and so I wrote this article, 3 Things I've Learned from Your Teens at Camp. And in it, just trying to hopefully share that, number one, I really would have loved a week just to spend with my wife and have date nights in the evening and those sort of things. I love my kids, but the time, sending them away was good. But this was so much better. And so just encouraging parents to invest and have some hope in their teens a little bit more.
Be involved, yeah.
So the first thing I learned, though, was that teens care more that you showed up than they care about you being hip. And this one is kind of a big thing, and I think for me it may be even a carryover from maybe high school feelings that you always have that feeling I need to be hip. But the teens really don't care. I don't think I could be hip enough anyway to be there.
Yeah, that's true. And
Betty's laughing.
Yeah, because we want to be cool, Dad, obviously. Yeah. But that's the thing. And sometimes your kids, I think they will roll their eyes or like, oh, my dad. But I think ultimately that they are still, I think you're right. I think they're glad that you're still there. There might be moments where they're like, oh, you're so embarrassing, Dad. But they're still happy that you are being present in their lives.
So my teens, they were trying to introduce me to their friends. They were wanting me to see what they were doing and talk about the week. So even though I wasn't their leader, they were still engaging me. And I learned things like 9 Square and Gaga Ball and these things that I hear them talk about, but I actually learned how to play them and just giving some time. We had a dance party at camp, all these things. So
that's cool.
It's just a little bit of, spending time. And what I realized was, ironically, the theme of the camp was from Ecclesiastes 1:14, which talks about things that we're chasing after being meaningless, as if we're chasing after the wind. And I thought maybe that's part of this lesson for my own heart, and maybe for other parents that are trying to be hip is like chasing the wind. And really what we need to do more is just invest in our kids' lives in this time.
Well, I know you got a couple more points that I want to get to. We'll do like one more good one here, like in 10 minutes. And if you want to check out the whole article, just text the word teen, T-E-E-N, T-E-E-N, not, it sounded like I gave it 8 E's, didn't it? T-E-E-N to 919, now I'm coughing, to 91979. If anyone gets that, it'll be a miracle.
Oh my goodness.
What was it again, Rock?
T-E-E-N.
Thank you. That's cheerleader for you. 91979.
You want me on that wall. You need me on that wall.
Uplifting Way FM, this is the Wally Show. And we got Pastor Chad from the Prayer Wall in with us. And normally we talk about things going on the Prayer Wall, but he's recently written an article about parenting. If you want to read the whole thing, teen, T-E-E-N, is the word you can text to 91979, and we will be glad to send you a link. And he admittedly is the best father of the year. He has a mug to prove it. And he's got a lot of experience parenting kids. He has 5 kids, so that's a lot.
In my head, I do a good job, but my kids would probably say otherwise.
So you went to camp with your kids this year, and so the article is like 3 things I learned from my kids at camp, which is awesome. So one was be there and be around them and show up that matters. What's another good thing you learned from them?
Yeah, I learned that teens act like they have it all figured out, but they still really want and really need you to challenge their reality. And so I just share in the article a little bit about the fact that my daughter at one point told us from her babysitting job, and now she has a job at Chick-fil-A, that her first car, she's going to buy herself a Range Rover.
You know, it's, on the surface, it sounds crazy, but man, what they're getting for babysitting these days.
That is true.
Like, I think they make more money than me.
Oh, my kids have way more money than I do. So
that's crazy.
So they're buying their own clothes and doing what they want with it, but that's fine. But yeah, just challenging their reality, and that doesn't mean arguing, but maybe asking questions like, how are you going to buy a Range Rover? Do you know how much that costs? Because I found like my kids will be quick to argue when I challenge things.
Sure.
But if I start asking more questions, and also they know when I'm being condescending in the questions as well.
Right.
So making sure my tone and stuff is really sincere about it.
I think a good question in that instance, for example, like because you could get hyper focused on the practical, because that's how I'm wired too.
Yeah.
Well, how are you going to do that? Really, you're going to do that with a babysitting job? But to say, why do you want this car? Because that will give you way more information about your daughter, because then it's like, well, they're a symbol of status. Okay, well, let's talk about that. And that will lead to different things. You know, because it's probably not because it has a really good safety rating.
Yeah.
You know, it's probably a way different issue than that.
It's the same reason why I had a Volkswagen bus when I was in my 20s. It's not great on gas. It became a money pit, but hey, I really wanted it.
Yeah.
And sometimes we have lofty dreams, so that's one of them.
It's why me at 5'4" in high school bought a Trans Am. Like, just so I would somewhat look like a man.
Oh, man.
Oh, man. Well, if you want to read the whole article, he's got it for you there. We love Pastor Chad. Just text the word teen, TEEN, to 91979, and we'll send you a link.
We're men in tights.
Uplifting Way FM, this is the Wally Show, and Gavin and I come from two very different generations. I'm slightly older than him. And,
like way older.
I'm way older than him, but I come from a generation that you pull yourself up by your bootstraps. You don't talk about your feelings. You just keep your head down, get it done.
And my generation pays really good money to talk about our feelings, and our parents still put our boots on.
Exactly. So that's why we do Tale of Two Dudes, all right? So Betty Rock's going to give us a scenario, and we're going to see where we line up, because sometimes we actually do end up on the same side, miraculously.
So I think you would agree that the younger generation puts more effort into their animals. They make sure that those animals can have their own little beds, plush beds, their blankies, and all of that stuff.
They carry them places.
Right, exactly. But people who are older are like, it's an animal. Like, who cares? But I found this article that says, according to the American Kennel Club, you should put sunscreen on your dog. Did you know?
Sorry. That was just, sometimes things in my head as a Gen Xer just come out. Like when I hear things now that I think are preposterous, I'll be doing whatever and nope. And yep, sorry. So dogs can actually get sunburned, especially on their ears and their nose and their belly. And as a human being, if we get sunburned, it can hurt a little bit. We need some aloe vera. Yeah. And so your dogs are in the same situation, especially if they have short hair or they have a white coat. They're very susceptible to getting sunburn. I can't even imagine going to my dad before we went to the lake or something with our dog and being like, hey, Dad, did you put sunscreen on the dog? I'm really concerned about my dad would have been like, you know what, son, why don't you just stay home? I'm just going to take the dog. You just stay here. That's Gavin, awesome. What do you think about this?
Okay, so I very much understand it, because I think that a dog should live a good life. I have 2 dogs. I want them to live their best life.
Their best life.
I do. They have such a small amount of time on this world, maybe 15 or so years. It's going to be a memory forever. Yeah. I treat the dogs amazingly. I have all these individual toys, beds, all this stuff for them. I 100% do agree that sunscreen is too far.
You do? Okay.
And it's not something I'm going to end up doing. I'm not going to go look it up. They're dogs.
But if you saw Jasper or Ellie with a sunburn, you would be a little concerned, wouldn't you?
A little?
Yeah. Especially as a redheaded guy, you should understand this.
I could meet them where they're at when it comes to that, but they do have these dark coats and they're mostly protected. But You know what? Like, I should check out their noses later.
Slather some sunscreen on it and be good with it.
Well, it can't be human sunscreen. I didn't specify that.
Nope.
So the American Kennel Club, they say that you actually have to get dog sunscreen, which is, it doesn't have any toxins in it that are okay for humans, but not okay for dogs. And it is a bit more expensive.
Oh, of course it's a bit more expensive.
But it's your dog.
No, of course it's more expensive. Everything for your dogs is more expensive. You know what? I'm going to start using dog sunscreen. If I'm going to buy it for my dog, I'm going to use it myself that day too, for sure. And I hope it smells like bacon. All right, well, there you go. Tale of Two Dudes. We kind of ended up in the same place, which is a big surprise for me.
I came here in a time machine that you invented.
Great Scott!
Now I need your help to get back in time.
Uplifting Way FM, this is The Wally Show. It's Friday, and that is fun because we are going back in time musically. But to get there, we have to have somebody that's going to be our guide. And today, that is Shanta. How are you, Shanta?
Doing fine.
Now, we appreciate you taking some time to be here, stuck in the time machine with us. If you don't mind, could you roll your window up? It's going to be a little cold as we pass a few nebulae.
Why?
Well, it's cold in the dark reaches of space.
Well, you didn't warn me. Why are you warning her?
Well, because I like her, and and I don't want her to get frostbite or anything like that. So, Shanta, what is the song that you are taking us back in time with, so we know what year to set this thing to?
Jamie Grace's Beautiful Day.
Ooh, okay. Betty Rock, what do I got to set the time machine to?
All right, prepare yourself for the year 2014.
Yes! I actually remember this because Toby Mac gave me this CD of this song from her at a wedding we were both at.
He found her, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He's like, dude, this is going to be great. It's going to blow up. You got to bump this on your car on the way home tonight. I believe he said it just like that.
Well, 2014 was the year of the Ice Bucket Challenge. Do you remember that?
Yes.
It was going viral on social media. It was also the year that at the Oscars, John Travolta was given the responsibility to introduce Broadway's Idina Menzel, but totally butchered it with this.
Please welcome the wickedly talented one and only Adele Dazeem.
Like, not even close.
Yeah. Who?
Adele Dazeem. So good. Well, there you go. Shanta, why do you want to hear Jamie Grace Beautiful Day?
It reminds me of my son and what we went through because he has autism. And when he was first diagnosed, he was diagnosed as being minimally verbal. So he couldn't speak very well. He only had like a few words, and not being able to communicate would, frustrate him. And he's usually a happy-go-lucky child. So as a result, we spent a lot of time in the car, and, Way FM was on because it was a struggle, and we needed that encouragement. And one day, he was playing in the back quietly, and Jamie Grace's song came on the radio. And then all of a sudden, I heard this really sweet, sincere voice singing along to the song. And I was so moved by it because I thought, oh my gosh, for a while there, I thought that God had forgotten us. And I realized in that moment that he hadn't. And God had given my son a way to communicate with his maker and express his joy and his happiness.
I can't even imagine as a mom how that must have brought you to tears.
Yes, and the thing was he was playing on my old iPod that had video capability, so he recorded himself doing it, and I kept it. And every time that there's a struggle or a tough time, I play that video of him singing. And it makes me smile. It does make me cry, though, but it makes me smile because I know that God didn't forget us.
And that's the craziest thing about all these songs we play. They're there for a reason, and they connect with people at different levels. And I think that's God using anything and everything to get to people to give them what they need. And so for you, it was Jamie Grace, Beautiful Day. It is a pleasure to go back in time to 2014 and play this again for Shanta and her son here on Flashback Friday on Way FM.
Thank you so much.
Wake up and smile, 'cause it's been a while. It's been like a whole day since I stopped so you could hold me. But this child awaits, strong in the faith. Lord, you are the refuge that I can't wait to get to, 'cause I can't let a day go. Can't let a day go.
Hey, it's Wally, and I just want to thank so many people, our potties, the people that listen to the radio station, for partnering together to make a difference in the lives of Ukrainian refugees. This thing over there is a mess. We're entering the 5th month of this, and it's just heartbreaking to see what people are going through and how they're having to live. But here's the upside. Together, we have sent more than 100,000 meals to Ukraine already. These meals are being distributed by 3,500 pastors who are risking their lives every day to minister to these families and get them the food that they need. So if you've given, thank you so much. Now, we're down to the last couple weeks of the month, and how cool would it be to up the ante here and send another 50,000 meals by the end of July? I know it sounds like a lot, but at 25 cents a meal, that's not a lot, and a little bit from each of us can go a long way. I know I've already done my part, because I'm never going to ask you to do something I won't do, but think about it. $100 sends 400 meals, and then if you roll that out and do $500 or $1,000 gift, imagine the impact that you're having. So if you want to get involved, you've seen all the hardship and the heartache and thought, man, I wish there was something I could do. This is something you can do. Just join us by texting Wally to 91999. That's Wally to 91999. And the cool part of this is, man, you get to be the answer to a mom's prayer as she's wondering how she's going to feed her children. Again, text the word Wally to 91999.
These are the least important stories out of Hollywood, but nonetheless entertaining. Here's Betty Rock with the least of these.
Disney streaming service Disney Plus just added their first R-rated movies to their platform. Yeah, it's Deadpool, Deadpool 2, and Logan. And because of this, Ryan Reynolds, who plays the role of Deadpool, posted on Twitter that while, yes, this is factually true, according to him, though, Disney has had movies available for years that should have been given an R rating due to, quote, irreversible trauma from watching the film.
Really? I can't even imagine what Up, was sad. Like the first 10 minutes of Up will take your soul out, step on it a little bit, twist it around, and then shove it back in you.
Yeah,
but it ends good.
Yeah, okay, so he had a few examples. So let me paint a picture for you.
Okay.
1942's Bambi. Throughout the movie, children build a bond with a fawn named Bambi and his mother. And right as you're emotionally invested in these main characters, stray hunters come to the woods and catch Bambi and his mother by surprise, leaving Bambi alone and confused.
We made it, Mother! Wait, Mother!
That is sad.
Trauma?
Yeah, it's sad, but it sets up the whole need for other people in his
Woods
life.
Catching on fire and him getting into a fight with another bug.
It's not like gratuitous language and, other questionable things.
Well, he had a second example, and this one was from 1957's Old Yeller. So once again, kids build this emotional bond with a boy named Travis and his much-loved dog, Old Yeller. Old Yeller is loved by the whole family, and he keeps them safe from any danger that may approach them while living out on the open western plains. But suddenly, evil approaches Old Yeller's family in the form of a rabid wolf.
I remember that.
Like the loyal dog he is, Old Yeller puts his safety on the line by attacking the rabid wolf and defending them, but not before getting wounded by the wolf himself. Travis's mother knows what this means. Old Yeller will soon contract rabies too, causing him to be in danger to the whole family. But Travis, he holds on to hope for his loyal companion, believing Old Yeller might be okay.
I'll pin him up where he can't get out, and then we'll wait.
All right, son. If you think there's a chance.
But if you've seen the movie, you know Old Yeller didn't have a chance.
Nope. And then she makes him do it.
No, he stepped up and he said, "It's my dog. I need to do it."
She didn't want to. That was how that
Anyways,
was
all that to say, Ryan Reynolds is saying these movies have been around a while. Those should have had R ratings for this trauma that we all experienced.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think there's a difference between something that is uber sad or something like that for an R rating, and I like the Deadpool stuff. I don't think that Disney should put on Disney Plus things that are R rated and questionable things. I know that everybody has a different line for things, and when you're trying to balance something that's not faith-based, because faith-based we can all agree on things a little bit more, believe it or not, but in this world everybody's got different tolerances, so I get that it's problematic, but if it was already rated as something that was an R, then it's taken the question out of it. No, that's not what you want. Kids 13 and under are watching Disney Plus. And so now it's one more filter you have to add.
So maybe Bambi and Old Yeller should have a rating of ET, which means emotional trauma.
Sure, that's fine, but it's still like not 13 and under, or whatever. It's like I don't know. I think Disney's losing their mind and losing their way in a lot of things. It's really frustrating me right now. Uplifting Way FM, this is the Wally Show, and I hate failing, but I had an epic fail the other day. I'm trying to do this thing. I'd borrowed like a pizza oven from a friend of mine, one of those gas-powered pizza ovens. It's just kind of a pain, and it was really expensive, so I didn't want to do that. So I thought, okay, I'll get a pizza stone and do pizza on my grill. So that'll be kind of fun. And my wife's mom had a pizza dough recipe, so we made all that. Just kind of fun doing that together and stuff. And then I didn't have one of those big pizza peels, they call them, to slide the pizzas on like in a wood fireplace.
Yes.
Okay. So I didn't have one of those, so I took a round pan, turned it upside down, put flour and stuff on it. So I built it on there, and the idea was to slide it off of there real quick onto the hot stone in the grill. Did not work. My toppings on my half, when I slid it, they all went over the grill.
Oh, no.
So my half of the pizza is now like empty. So then I've got to take a spatula and try and shake it off. And I had thrown extra flour onto the hot stone on the grill, and it just burned the flour. So then I finally get the pizza on there, let it go for about 4 minutes, and the bottom is this chalky burned mess.
Gross.
Yeah, I was so sad because I really wanted this. I'm like, oh, good, this is something we'll do together. It'll be fun.
I think it's safe to say I would call that not just a fail, but an epic.
It was an epic fail. A buddy of mine, I was texting him back and forth, and he was asking me, how are things going, with your pizza thing? And
Not so good.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, don't ask, So this is great. He goes, well, sorry about your pizza. Sorry about your pizza there. What are you going to do now? And I just said Pizza Hut.
Yes.
And that's what we ended up doing. We went and bought pizza.
Probably what you should have done to begin with.
I know. Exactly right. I would have saved more money and stuff. So to me, that was an epic fail.
You failed!
And it was awesome.
Exceptional.
Outstanding. From failing, you learn.
That's right. You can learn from your mistakes. And now I know how to correct it and get back on. No, this one's not worth repeating. But I am curious. We want to celebrate your fails for a minute, because sometimes it's embarrassing. Sometimes you're like, oh, you're humiliated or frustrated by the failure, but you learn from your failures. So whether it's professional, personal, parental, whatever your fail is recently, practical, we will celebrate it and find the silver lining in your fail, okay? 855-33-WAY-FM is the number. That's 855-33-WAY-FM. What is your epic fail? Mine was the pizza debacle that we'll never forget in my house. And what's yours? 855-33-WAY-FM. So what's yours?
It was a parenting fail. My little girl had done something wrong, and we had been teaching her about salvation and how we deserve death for our sins, and she had disobeyed. And so I sit her down, and I'm trying to talk to her and counsel her and say, okay, Abigail, now that you have done this and you disobeyed Mommy, this is a sin. And I said, what do we deserve? And she goes, death. I'm going to die, Mommy. I'm going to die. I was like, oh, we're going to have to redo this. Okay.
You know what? That's where you're a good mom, though. You corrected it, and you explained it to her instead of using it as leverage. Instead of going, all right, this time you get a reprieve.
Some could say, Jennifer, you put the fear of God in her.
Literally, yes.
Oh, yes.
All right, Michelle, you're up. It's our epic fails. They can be parenting, personal, practical. What's yours?
My son's name, I won't mention. He'll be embarrassed. But 19 years old, we run a landscape company. A little bit. Every few months, he complained about stomach pain, and I just chalk it up to you're dehydrated, drink more water. So then it got really bad one week, and I was still like, toughen it up, get out there. We got business to run. And the following weekend, he had emergency appendix removal. So, yeah. So I felt horrible, and I'm never going to live that down. He told me.
Oh, Oh, absolutely. He's got one on you for a while. But I get it as a parent. You're like, okay, come on, toughen up, son. I mean, we have snowflake kids these days, you know? And so I totally
Right?
get that.
I'm just trying to make him a better man, that's all.
Yeah, even if it kills him.
No, that's terrible.
Melanie, what was your epic fail?
Well, this was a parenting fail a few years ago when we were taking our son for his freshman year to college at Texas A&M. I'd made an extensive list of what we needed to bring so we wouldn't forget anything, and then divided it up, gave Dad his part of the list and my son his part and my part, and we pack everything up. We head on down to Texas A&M. We unpack everything, and they come walking in and said, okay, that's it. I look around, and there are no clothes, and I had been in charge of the clothes.
You made sure everyone else had done their job. For full disclosure, that happens to me all the time. Like, I'll be like telling everybody, okay, you do this, and Betty, you do this, and Gavin, make sure you got that. And then it comes down to my part. I'm like, oh, I forgot my stuff. like totally
Yes.
understand this.
So my child had no clothes starting college.
Now, did you go home and ship them to him, or were you secretly, like, subconsciously hoping he would return home for his clothes and stay with you forever?
No, we immediately went to Target to buy some clothes, and then we drove back our 3 hours home, gathered up the clothes, next morning got back in the truck, drove back down there to deliver the clothes, and then back home again.
Wow. How happy was your husband about that?
He was so gracious. I have such a good husband.
Well,
he
yeah.
didn't gripe or complain, not once.
Yeah, no, he had to. He had to be gracious because the next time he messes up, you know, he needs that extra bit of grace because he's going to mess up more than you, right, Melanie?
Oh, always.
Yeah, exactly.
And therein is your silver lining.
Uplifting Way FM. This is the Wally Show. Gavin spends a lot of time for TMI and other parts of his job searching, stalking different artists that
It
we
is
play.
stalking.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
cyber stalking. But you've gotten really good at it, and you always find stuff on artists that I like, and today's no exception.
Yeah, so for King and Country, our Australian besties here in America, they do a lot of music, and they do a lot of their songs their own style, and then they actually invite a bunch of artists into there. So, like, they have their song Together with Kirk
Yes.
Franklin, Tori Kelly. They did God Only Knows, like a Timbaland remix with the singer from Echo Smith. And then, surprising to me, they did a version of God Only Knows with Dolly Parton.
I know, I do remember this.
There's a kind of love that God only knows. God only knows what you've been through.
I remember talking to them about that, like, how did that come about, you know, kind of thing. And because they started doing partnerships or collabs with different people, because it happens in pop music all the time, and they've really been doing a lot more of this with Christian music, which is kind of cool. I like it.
Yeah, and they put out an album very recently, and their newest song that we're playing is For God Is With Us.
For God is with us.
Nice beat drop there.
Excellent drop.
It's a great song, but I think it could use a little something else, a little other smack on it.
Yeah, and what they did was to make it a little bit different, better, I don't know. They brought in Hillary Scott from the band Lady A to be a part of this song.
And she's country like Dolly Parton, too. It's kind of interesting that they go to that genre for stuff. Let's see how it sounds.
The body was broken.
Sounds like a young Dolly.
So let us begin the celebration and the ceremony. The silence on earth, but the heavens are roaring, telling the story of the coming glory. Can you feel your heart begin to race?
Yeah, I like it. I hear it.
I think when you have someone like Dolly Parton on your song, it's so, you know, they stand apart.
It's iconic.
Yeah, they stand apart from each other in a lot of ways. I think that they mesh really well together. And I think that the ending on this song, where she kind of punches her vocals a little louder, I think is really good too.
This is where love truly begins. For God is with us. God is with us.
Yeah, I like this. I think it's good.
Yeah.
It's kind of a good refresh to a song that you already know and love and have heard and enjoyed, and you to kind of do the collaboration thing. I like it.
Yeah, I like that they do keep branching out, adding different artists. They're doing a couple of country artists at this point. I'm very curious to know who they're teaming up with next.
I think it would be safe to say that probably Joel and Luke from For King and Country probably think country makes them better. And for that,
Yeah. For King and Country. They're taking it very literal.
They're taking a note from the Wally Show. Country makes you better.
That nuts. God is with us. Yeah, we got to get Betty on there. We got to get Betty to collab with them.
Well, the podcast is over, but there's still the Aftercast. It's new stuff you didn't hear in the podcast. Be sure to rate us on iTunes, as well as connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Just search Wally Show. And if you'd like to join our Facebook group made exclusively for you potties, the link is in the description of this podcast. Thanks to Colorado Christian University Online and United Faith Mortgage for supporting what we do.